Hi, in this video I'm going to go over the basics of creating a PDF form. And sometimes we want to use PDF forms to create course materials. Of course we can use paper to create course materials, but with PDF forms we're looking at substituting paper with the digital environment. And it's really about looking at changing habit. So trying to get teachers moving away from using so much paper. I mean, nothing wrong with paper. With my assessments, for example, I still use paper. But for a lot of the other materials, I distribute them digitally and students work with them digitally. So it's changing habits for teachers, but also changing habits for students. And we'll look at the basics of creating PDF forms as course materials. So here you can see a reflection of my iPad, and so I create a PDF form as a course material and then I put it in Blackboard. So let's go look at Blackboard. Go into that app. Here's one of my courses, and if I go into for me, course content, and you'll see down here on my in my Blackboard I have different documents, and these are all PDF forms. Some of them are just really text, and other ones are kind of workbookish. So let's look at this one workbook that I created. So we'll open up that, and here the PDF form for this particular course is open on an iPad, and you'll see that there's a space for writing the student name and ID and section. However, on the iPad right now with Blackboard, it's open in Blackboard, and Blackboard is not working interactively with that document. It's not behaving like a form. So to do that, I have to move the document from Blackboard into Adobe Reader. And so I tap on the middle of the screen, I tap on this thing here because I want to move it. I want to open it with Adobe Reader. So opening the same document in Adobe Reader, we're looking at it on iPad. We could do all of this on the laptop as well, and on the laptop it's probably even a little bit easier because it will open straight away in Adobe. So here it is, and you can see now that there's a form field here where there wasn't before in Blackboard, and I could tap on that and put in my name and have that entered in there, right? And why would a student want to do that? Well, if you wanted the student to somehow get that document to you, you were going to evaluate it somehow or check it or whatever it was. Table of contents and learning outcomes. So you'll see here, for example, the student has a multiple choice question. You know, the student can choose A or B or C, so forth. So those are multiple choice, and I'll show you in a moment how to make those. And these things are called radio buttons. We'll see, you know, when we're making them, they're called radio buttons. Also, please pay attention to the spacing. You see that I have to, when I create these documents, I need to keep in mind where the button is going, for example. So when I made the document, I made sure that there was enough space between the A and this line, that there was enough space here for the button to fit in there, right? When I create these documents, I have in my mind an idea about the form fields that I'm going to put in there. Spacing is very important when you're creating these types of documents. Here's a different type. This one is inserting text. So the question is, if you could do anything with your future, what would you like to do? Well, if I click on that on my iPad and I write something like, I would like to be an educator, period. So there it is. So that information is now put into the form. These forms can be shared with the teacher. There's different ways to share them. I won't go talk about that in this particular video. In this video, I'm just going to talk about how to make these things. And right now, what I'm showing is basically what do they look like. So an e-reader can be or sorry, not an e-reader, I call them e-readers for my department, but PDF forms, essentially, we're talking about radio buttons here. We're talking about text fields down here. If it goes, it should move in a moment, but it's not moving. So we're talking about text fields, we're talking about radio buttons, and you can see up here we're talking about hyperlinks. So there's the text field, but also hyperlinks. So they should be able to click on that. So open web page. Do you want to open the page at blah blah blah? It'll come up in the video. It's showing on my iPad, but it's not showing up on. There's a delay. It's not showing up on my computer right away. So I'll cancel out of that. But I clicked on the link and it was asking me, do you want me to take you to the web page? And the student would say yes. Okay, well that's enough of that. I'm going to close down the iPad. And now let's look at actually creating one of these things. And let's see if I can do that. File, new blank document. All right, so here it is. This is where it all starts. The teacher has in mind to create some kind of course, some kind of document that she wants to use in her course, or he wants to use in her course. And the idea is to use it digitally somehow with students, whether it's on the iPad or laptop. I always set my layout at the standard margins of 1-inch margins, 2.54 centimeters. And I'm using A4 paper, good enough. So let's say name, for example. I want the student's name. ID, I want the student's ID. And let's say course. Now I am purposefully making some things that you'll see in a moment. I'm purposefully putting in some mistakes because I haven't provided enough spacing. I haven't provided guidelines for form elements yet. So let's say I want to start asking some questions. Okay, what's your favorite color? Sure. And I'll put a space there. So now I'm putting more space in between. I'm going to do double spacing now, because I know that that's going to give me enough space. A list of colors of the rainbow. All right, so here's another question item. I'm going to do something different with that question item though. I think I'm going to switch over. I'm going to start putting in tables. So let me take that question item, put it inside of a table, and in particular, I like tables. You'll see in a moment once we start making the forms, because the box gives me a guideline about where to put the text field. Let's try with making a multiple choice question. Which is your favorite food? And let's see here. we're going to put in A, B, C, D. And I'm thinking about space. I think that's probably enough space to put in a radio button. So let's put muffin, squash, apples, noodles. I don't know. Period. All right, so we have multiple choice. We're going to put in buttons here, radio buttons. But I will tell you right now that the spacing's not good enough. It's not far enough apart. So I'll leave two of them together because you'll see what happens when they're too close. But for the other ones, I'll put them 2 spaces apart. And here also I need to have space under there so that it's not crowding the radio button. All right, so that's enough for now. So what I would normally do is I would save that as, I'll save it to the desktop, save it as test document. Test document meaning it's not really a test, and I'm just testing out the software here. All right. But you could make a test, but anyway. Now I want to save it again, but save as PDF. I need to save it as a PDF. So same place, it's saving it to the desktop, okay. Right, so I'm finished with Microsoft Word. I've composed a course document using Microsoft Word, and I've saved it as a PDF. And I want the 2 files. In case I need to come back to the original file and change something, like I would need to change this really, and I'd need to change that, I keep my original Microsoft Word file somewhere in the background. And so now here is my PDF version of that same document. So let's open that. It's opened up in Adobe Acrobat. Now I'm going to go here, Tools, Create. No, I'm not going to do Create. It makes sense to do Create, but what Create does, it automatically tries to make a PDF form for you, but almost always it does not do that correctly. I'm going to go to Edit, and it's saying, currently there are no form fields in this PDF. Do you want Acrobat to detect form fields for you? No, I don't, because it won't do it properly. So I'm going to do it myself manually. Here I'm going to go Add New Field. I'm going to add a text field for the name. Here I am, name. So now part of the problem is there's no real guideline here. It's just a big blank space. So I'm just using my judgment. There it is. I'm going to give this field a name. I'm going to call it name. I'm going to go to all properties. So this text field is called name. Appearance. It's going to be 12-point Helvetica font. Okay. It's going from left to right. Okay. Now it says scroll long text and it says check spelling. So I'm going to take off check spelling right now. I'm going to leave this on, scroll long text. It's a mistake, but I'm going to show you what that mistake looks like. So here I go, close editing form. So this is what the form is like. Now, if I click in it and I start typing, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to come to the end of the form field soon, but you'll see that it keeps on going. It keeps on going. That's what the scrolling means. So all of that other text is lost. We won't really actually see it. So here I go. I'm going to do clear form. It clears it all back to nothing. I'm going to go back to edit. I'll double click on that? Double click, yeah. Scroll long text. No, I don't want that. Close. Okay, I have another thing here, ID. So there's a couple ways to do that. I can add a new text field, Or I can just copy this original one. It has all of the settings I want, and just paste it down there. So why don't we do that? For Apple, I have to double click with my two fingers. I'm going to do copy. I click out. I double, two finger click again. Click paste. And here it is. And you can see it's called name. We're going to have to change that. All right, so what happens here? So I want to put it by ID, but you can see now I have a problem. They're overlapping. There wasn't enough space when I originally made that form. So how about I change it? Okay, I need to squeeze it down now. All right. Well, let's look at a couple things. Sorry, we'll go back. This is called this form field, text field is called name. The other one is called name. Let's watch what happens now. If I type in here, in that one, and then I click out, you'll see automatically it comes into the next text field. And that's because those text fields were given the same title. So, clear form, edit, I'm going to double click here, general, name, I need to call that a different thing now. ID is what it's called now. Okay, close. So now, if I enter text here, it's not going to come down into the new one. They're separate now. But, close form editing. All right, so now let me type in here. I'll do all capitals. Okay, well, it's not so bad. I'll do all capitals there. That one's not so bad. You can see there's just enough room in there for the letters to fit in. If that text box had been any smaller, those letters wouldn't have fit in. Basically, my message to you is it's a good idea to have double spacing when you're dealing with text, at least double space, when you're dealing with text fields. And you'll see down here with radio buttons as well. I'm going to do clear form. I'm going to go back to edit. Well, let's skip over this last one. Well, the only thing I wanted to show you with the last one was it has this line now. With these ones and these ones, I'll actually just delete that. You can see there's no line, there's really no guide, so I have to eyeball it. I have to imagine where I want my box. If I copy that one, copy, double click, paste. Okay, with this one now, I can use the box and try to set it to that line. So the line provides a guide for me about how big I want the text field, for example. So putting in these guides for yourself in Microsoft Word, because you know when you get to Adobe Read or Adobe Acrobat Pro and you're making your form, that's where you want the answer to be. All right, I need to change the name on that. Double click, I write course. Sure, close. But you'll see that it also keeps the settings from the field that I copied. So that's not checked, that's not checked. And that's just the same that it was up there. All right, well, so this one was just to show you that there's enough space. If I copy this now, Command, copy, Command V, paste. You can see if I take that text field and copy and paste it down there, I have enough space. There's nice space between that. And maybe I would have to rename that, call it Q1, question 1, close. All right. So let's keep going. Now I want to add another text field. So let's just add a new one. The nice thing about having it in tables, I arrange these in tables, is now I match up my lines to the table size, right? I really like to use tables for questions and answers because the box for the table really gives me a nice guideline for how big to make the text field. And we'll call that question 2, Q2. And it's a new text box, so I need to go into my settings, all properties, Q2, appearance, that's fine, I'm not going to change that. Scroll along text, we know we don't want that. Multiline, why not? That'll let me get 2 lines. And check spelling, sure, why not? Let's see if double space is enough to give me multiline. Close form editing. Now I'm just going to type in there. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, it's stopping me. It's not letting me go any further because double space is not big enough to allow for multi-line. Clear form. Edit. Let's see, I'll take this one, I'm just going to copy it. Command copy, Command C, Command V is paste. Let me just make another box out here, just for fun out there. I want to show you the multi-line. Let's make sure that one's got multi-line. So it's multi-line, it's check spelling, close. So you could use this, close form editing. You could use that for a larger response, even a whole page. You could make a whole page of just form entering text. So here I am typing, 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 and now it's wrapping around. That's the multi-line function. Type, 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 wrap around. So that's multi-line function. And it will keep wrapping around until it gets to the end of the box, which is a nice feature. You just have to make sure it does to uncheck scroll long text. You want multi-line, you do not want scroll long text. And it's your choice if you want check spelling. So you can see all of the red. That's the system is telling me that's a misspelled word because I checked check spelling. Let's look at radio buttons. Edit, clear form, edit, add radio button. So here I go, it gives me this little box and well, where's my choice? Okay, so there it goes. I'm not going to worry about choice 1 and group 4 right now. I'm going to say add another button. Now I want B, but you can see it's coming on. It's not aligned properly because I didn't put enough space. Add another button, C. Add another button, D. Add another button, E. And on the side here, you can see that the program is telling me everything that I have done so far. And this one as well, this set of radio buttons is called group 4. If I were to have another series of multiple choice questions, for example, let's just copy, oops, no, I want that one, I want that one, that one. I don't want that text box, that one, that one. I'll try to take that off. Okay. No, it's not working properly. 1, 2, 3. I'll just copy 4. Copy. Paste. Okay, so I have another set here, but you can see over here, because I just did a simple copy paste, it's saying that all of these things are from the same group. I didn't change the group. So if I had another question here and I wanted different answers, I have to make sure that this has a different group name on it. So it's not group 4 anymore, it's group 5. Go here, group 5, go here, group 5. Go here, group 5, close, good. So now you can see that I have the 5 radio buttons up here that are in one group, and the 5 radio buttons down here that are in another group. And what that means is that when I click in this one now, in this set, it recognizes all of that as one group, and you have 5 choices. And you can only have one choice within that 5, one selected. And then here, okay, I click on that, I have 2 dots now, because this one is in a separate group. If I had left this in the original group, there would be one selection for the whole thing, which we wouldn't have wanted if we had another question item. Alright, so that's a little bit of that. Well, what else do I have to tell you? So that's the basics of creating a PDF form. Is you can have text fields, you can have radio buttons, you can have wraparound text, you can copy, you can paste. Let's go back to the Microsoft Word document. There's one thing we didn't do. Something like http zu.ac.ae. If I have a website and I highlight that and I do my double 2-finger click and I want a hyperlink, and it says, is this the hyperlink you want? Yes. Okay, now that you can see how it changes to a little hand when I roll over it. That is now an active hyperlink, and usually when you bring that into PDF, it will still be an active hyperlink. It will maintain that coding that lets the student just click on it, and it will take them open up a YouTube video or whatever it is. So there it is. Those are the basics of how to create a course document as a PDF form. In the next video related to this topic, I'll discuss some more advanced ideas around PDF forms, such as the workflow that you would use for it, some of the pedagogy behind it, branding, for example, of making your documents, if you're going to use it on the scale of department, that these documents are for a certain course, this document is for another course, or this is for the department branding and things like that. Okay, I hope that video helped. Good luck.